Eric, we got to talk about some other big news that's come back from WWE today. How about this for starters? This is the new SummerSlam poster for 2025. This was just released this morning. Of course, they're going to have a big extravaganza at the former MetLife Stadium, or I guess it's still MetLife Stadium there in New Jersey. It's a 2-night affair. We knew this would happen eventually. Royal Rumble's eventually going to be 2 nights. WrestleMania is going to be 2 nights. SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights. And it's happening this year. The first ever 2-night SummerSlam, August 2nd and August 3rd. Tickets are on sale now. And from left to right, we see on this poster Rhea Ripley, much larger Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, CM Punk, and then in the front row, Tiffany Stratton, Cody Rhodes, and John Cena. What do you make of this this poster, Eric? We've yet to see Cody post WrestleMania. We've yet to see Roman post WrestleMania. There's reports out there that Cody's going to miss some time, and that's probably well deserved since he's come back from the pectoral tear. He's done every piece of media and promotion and every live event possible. And maybe they want the Roman Reigns story to take a breather as well. The reports are he won't be back until June. Now, we don't have any inside information. I don't know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, but I know this seems to be the direction for SummerSlam. Any surprises about who's on the poster or who's not on the poster, Eric?
No, not at all, because I didn't have any anticipation. So hard to be surprised about something that you're not really thinking about. I think it seems rather generic. And I think I said a couple of weeks before WrestleMania, when people were talking about the level of enthusiasm for it or lack thereof in the opinions of some, I think I made the comment that one of the things I'm looking forward to at that time for WrestleMania 4 is not only that night's event, but where the stories go post WrestleMania. Because WrestleMania, to me at least, has always been the unofficial reset, meaning most of the stories have evolved to a certain point where the next version of that story evolves out of WrestleMania. And it's the direction of the stories post WrestleMania that I was most interested in. And I still am. And I haven't honestly been able to follow it enough. It's been a little crazy, and I just haven't checked into the direction of the stories post WrestleMania. But I will be once things settle down over the next couple of days. And I'm really interested in that because it's the storytelling, it's the process. And I read this morning there were some internal changes within the creative department. And I'm just really interested in how these stories evolve and who's involved. So that's a long-winded way of saying not surprised by anything because I have no feel for the direction of anything quite yet. But and I'm not sure that WWE has presented it yet either. I think in the next couple of weeks we'll start seeing the direction of creative, at least where we think it's going to go for the next 6 months.
We should also talk about another announcement that WWE's revealed this morning, and this feels like a big one. WWE Crown Jewel 2025 will not be in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be, I can't believe this is real, in Perth. I've kind of imagined that the Crown Jewel opportunity was going to be restricted to Saudi events, but they're going to run Friday Night SmackDown in Perth and Raw the following Monday. But in the middle, Crown Jewel Perth, Saturday, October 11th in Western Australia. You know, we knew that WWE was going back to Australia. This makes sense. Why not make it 3 shows? But I think the interesting thing is it's got the name Crown Jewel, but it's not in Saudi Arabia. What do you think of that, Eric?
That's interesting.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know. That's really interesting. So this is the kind of stuff that I'd love to have some access to in terms of finding out why and how and understanding the direction of the plan. This is the business of the wrestling business that I find way more fascinating than a rumor in innuendo. This is something I would like to know about. Now, I won't call Bruce or anybody else that I know in WWE and ask because I'm not that guy. None of my business. Don't need to know, but I'd love to know. So if you hear anything, Conrad, please clue me in. This is pretty cool. That's an interesting development. Does it mean anything as far as the relationship with Saudi? Is it added value in the view of the Saudis and that relationship with respect to WWE Crown Jewel? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to find out.
We had previously heard that there would be a Saudi show in June. That was what was promoted, that the annual Saudi Arabia PLE was going to be in June, but it's always carried the name Crown Jewel, and now that's in Australia. So this is going to be interesting. Let's talk about some, I guess it's bad news. I hate to be so flippant about it. I don't know all the details, but we hate to hear when anyone's losing their job. And it's come out that there are some cuts happening in WWE right now. This is sort of par for course with WWE on the heels of WrestleMania. But the report is WWE made cuts in several departments, including creative services, photography, and more today. Christine Lubrano, maybe I didn't pronounce that correctly, who served as senior vice president of creative writing operations, departed the company. The belief is that at least 10 to 12 staffers were cut today, possibly more. I know this is standard operating procedure for a lot of major corporations. You know, they do performance reviews and cut the bottom 10%, and the company changes their direction. Like we all assumed the Crown Jewel show is going to be in Saudi Arabia because it always has been. But now it looks like it's going to Perth. We hate to hear of anybody losing their jobs, but I know that the narrative online is going to be negative about this, but it's just a function of business sometimes, Eric. We don't want anyone to lose their jobs, but this is kind of the way corporate America works, right?
It's the way America works.
Yes.
It's supply and demand. It's the constant evolution of the business and the business model. Look at what's happening across the board in a lot of different industries. Watch what's going to happen over the next 2 to 5 years with the evolution and integration of AI. There's going to be a lot of people losing their jobs and finding new ones in other areas, but it's the evolution of life. Yes, in the wrestling business, but in every other business as well.
I hate to hear that anybody's losing their gig, but I do wonder, some of these creative folks, do you think if you had to guess that they will find other jobs in wrestling, or will they say, you know what, that's enough of this, I'm going to go be creative outside of the pro wrestling landscape? What would you predict, Eric?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know any of these people, and I don't know what real assets they bring to the table. For example, the young lady that was let go recently, her title had operations, senior vice president of creative writing operations. Operations suggests an administrative role more so than it suggests a creative writing role. In other words, you need people to manage the process, hiring, reviewing, firing in some cases, just the logistics of the process of people sitting in a room, coming up with ideas, and then turning that into a format, disseminating it amongst talent, and producing a television show as a result. That's an entire process, and very complicated logistics at the level that WWE is operating at. So just because someone is with a title of senior vice president of operations, creative writing, is leaving, it could be simply because of efficiencies. Sometimes departments are rearranged, reduced, expanded, whatever, as a result of efficiencies in increased technology, for example. So I don't think that people should read in anything to it other than it's life, man. It's happening in every form of business in America, around the world, and it always has. It's nothing new.